Not like looking into a mirror. I know that's not my face. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I am the unknown factor, and this is the questionnaire. And, I mean, that was Bishop's face, drawn by Sean Damian Hill. Killing that shit. You can check out him with four other phenomenal artists killing it on the most recent PanCon, right? But that's not what we're talking about tonight. We ain't watching nobody draw tonight. Tonight, yeah, we're gonna get into the mind of an individual that has worked with Sean and had Sean draw some wonderful, wonderful things. We got Greg Elysée in the house, man. How's it going?
I'm good, man. How you doing? How you doing?
Man, phenomenal. My guest actually showed up tonight, as opposed to ended up on a different podcast that they just randomly hit him up about. We'll be discussing that more in depth on our next quest with our next guest. Riley, part of my brain still can't believe it happened, Greg. It was some funny ass shit, man. But I gotta
Oh, shit.
like real quick off the bat because he was confused why on that podcast they didn't bring up the questionnaire. So right off the bat, I just got to bring up the questionnaire. Like film, or favorite film. It used to be Edward Scissorhands until he exposed his ignorance and racism. Are you referring to
Tim
Johnny Depp?
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. Wait, what did I miss?
Just Google Tim Burton and racism, and you'll see. So this was a couple of years ago when he was being interviewed about that Miss Paraguay movie. I think that's what it was called. It was like a gothic X-Men type of shit when you think about it. And he had cast Samuel L. Jackson to play the villain. And when I first saw the previews, and I was like, "Oh shoot, Samuel L. Jackson looks amazing." He was like this really creepy looking design. But one thing I've always noticed, me being a black kid who was obsessed with Tim Burton, was like he barely ever really showcases black people in his movies. And so I guess I wasn't the only person to notice that. So when the 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 marketing and the interviews, all that for the movie came out, somebody asked him about it because it was like, this is the first time you have a black person in a leading role like this. And so he said some weird ass response, how, oh, he understands diversity is the new thing to talk about now. And he remembers when he was younger, he was more offended of seeing people of color come on the shows that he watched because he knew it was for political correctness reasons, and pretty much saying he never watched black exploitation films and thought, why isn't there any white people in it? And like stupid crap like that. And I'm just like, what? And he was like, either his movies call for it or they don't. So I'm like, all these crazy fantastical ass things that makes no sense in your movies, that's all fine and dandy, but black folks is a bit too much for your imagination. So I was like, that was all I needed to hear, and haven't supported him since. You shake it.
That
Like you said,
that's
man.
a head scratcher right there, Greg. Because like you said, sincerely, like that's too far. But a dude with scissors for hands is not a dude with like I I. Uh, like I don't even know what to say to that, man, because I'd never seen it. Because in all honesty, I don't know. Maybe it's just part of me trying to stay away from bullshit. That's like I didn't know what Comic Gate was until somebody specifically on the questionnaire was like, "We can talk about anything except Comics Gate," which made me Google Comics Gate and find out a bunch of bullshit. Like I'm serious, dude. I just try to keep myself away from it. I don't want that in my life. You know what I mean? As far as just that negative bullshit. And I frankly am not a big news watcher. I can stomach John Oliver doing the news, and like that's about it. I if you don't spice some humor in with it, it makes me want to throw a damn hatchet at my TV, and I don't want to throw a hatchet at my TV. It just seems like a waste. Like
Yeah,
I
it's not.
yeah, so it makes it real hard to be able to find something I can digest without me, wanting to be like, y'all motherfuckers need to shut the fuck up, you know? And Because I read that, man, and I was confused. I didn't know if you meant like, because I was like, I feel like that would have came out in the Johnny Depp trial with all that he just went through, and the wife watched that real closely, and I didn't see anything. I mean, I seen some slightly heinous shit, but I feel like he was more getting boned in that situation. But to find out it's Tim Burton,
Yeah, if you noticed, since then his casting has been a lot more diverse now for his projects, and I'm like, oh, I'm guessing he's trying to do some type of damage control, you know. But I'm good.
that's just weird, man. I don't know. I think it's people like look, man, the world is made up of all types, and I'm down with all kinds of gears unless they're broken. And by broken, I mean like you prey on children, or you're just a greedy piece of shit asshole that uses money to subjugate other people, or like those are the broken gears that need to get removed. Like bullshit like that, man. Um, which brings me to a little bit back to the questionnaire. So no more discrimination, bigotry in the world. Hell yeah. I would love to see that. It would take a fucking genie. All right. It would, Greg. Let's be real honest. There's no way in hell with this Make America Great fucking dumbass. You got the Punisher wearing a Trump hat. Yeah, I took that picture. It was in my hometown. I'll show it to you right now, real quick, so everybody can see that I'm not bullshitting. Right? You see it in the fucking between me and Greg right now. I swear to God, a fucking Punisher logo with an American flag with a Make America Great hat on it made my brain hurt to where I was like, I gotta take a picture of this and have record. All right. It would take a genie. In world hunger, it shouldn't take a genie at all. At all. It should be very, very, very simple to end world hunger, but then you have to take away a great portion of greed. But then unlimited money, man, aren't you worried that that may corrupt you if you just had unlimited funds, Greg? I mean, really.
Not at all. Not at all. Because a lot of it is also, I'm also thinking about the people I can help with that money. So it's not all just to me.
I mean, fair enough, dude. If I had like just unlimited cash, like Elon or not Elon Musk, but let's say Jeffrey Bezos level, because I'd say he's the one that really could just walk around and hand people thousands of dollars at a time, every person he meets on the street every day, and it's not gonna affect his bottom line.
No.
It's not, which is kind of terrifying. Um, it,
Right.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about as far as like. So yeah, so those are three phenomenal wishes. The last one worries me because it's that whole with absolute power, you know what I mean, statement, and like so with complete money, bro. I don't know how you would make it to where at some point you didn't go a little Lex Luthor with it.
Maybe, I mean, maybe you might need me to be a little Lex Luthor.
Uh, yeah, I mean,
Well,
I'm not saying the world don't need adjusting, Greg. Right? I'm not. In no way, shape, or form am I going to sit here and tell you I don't think that like go listen to the music we make as Kill a Factor. I assure you, we are firm believers that there are things in this world that need adjusting. Um, I hope that music never blows up and gets me and DKB killed, but that's a whole other point. Um, there's just certain things we say. Um, you know, but I don't know about a Lex Luthor, man. Can't we get like a oh hell, I'm trying to think of who from comic books would. You know who I really think. There's a line by the Insane Clown Posse by Violent J. He said, "Put 100,000 real Jason Voorhees out there, right?" And I'm like, that's some bullshit. Fuck that. Here's what I think
yes.
it'd be. Here's what I think it'd be good for the world. Put 100,000 Wade Wilsons out there
Why Wade Wilson?
because he's willing to shoot a motherfucker in the head that deserves it, but is a
That is
very compassionate and loving individual if you're not a piece of shit.
that is very true.
You know
I
what I
definitely
mean?
stay down with piece of shits. They annoy me.
Yeah. Like but he's so and he's crazy. you know, but he's crazy like lovable. He's not crazy like I'm randomly gonna stab you in the face like the Joker, you know. He's crazy like just like kind of out of his mind, which is understandable for anybody that knows anything about his history from the comics, especially even the movies technically. Um, but like I said, like the dude's got a lot of love in him, man. You know, like especially if you look at some of the comic book runs, I think it's Daniel Way's run with him where he brings in his daughter. I think I've got the name of that right. I ain't got yeah. I'm 90% positive I've got the name of who did that run. But where they bring in his daughter and all that, like it shows him being a compassionate character, but at the same time, like, don't fuck with his family. You know? Like,
Yeah.
don't. So, yeah, 100,000 Wade Wilsons, I think that would be good for the planet. Plus, he's Canadian. And I'm telling you, every Canadian I've had on the show, they've been a pleasure. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Some of the nicest, I don't know why. I don't know why people in Canada are just nice, but they are.
So nice. Every time I've gone to Canada, people have been dope as hell.
Yeah. So
Like they smile at you when you're walking down the street and say hi and stuff.
now imagine if that was Wade Wilson with just no mask on, a set of swords, some guns and shit. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like if you're a piece of shit, it's gonna scare you. But if you're a good guy, you're gonna be like, "Hi." That was really fucking weird, man. What's going on here? All right. And with that double finger, we restart the show. The double finger, just to be clear, was in no way, shape, or form at Craig. It was a technology and the fact that it pissed me off in that particular moment. And, you know, I had to do this and that, and now I got to do more damn editing. And I do enough damn editing on this show. But
My fault, man.
hey, no, brother. It's technology, and if it was flawless, we'd all be way better off. But if it was flawless, I don't know. At the same time, you might have more of a in-depth expansion of AI, and artists to a great degree might get screwed over because the consumer has no problem consuming art from AI and not understanding that there's not that these. We could get into a long discussion about AI. And I mean, we've got a whole pan con about it. I've gotten into it with several different artists. I mean, I just like just watching Vlad, Mike, Q, um, Sean, and Tony sit and draw on the most recent pan con, which y'all can go check out. I don't want to be sitting watching motherfuckers enter prompts into a program and then suddenly, hey, look at this picture I made. No, dude, no. That is,
Pretty whack.
yeah, it's nothing compared. And I mean, with the same thing, like they could go into Chat GP and start creating whole scripts, you know? Um, even I heard there was AI hip hop where they just got a program like, yeah, dude, it hurt me a little. As someone who considers Ice Cube and Stan Lee, like, that's where my influences are, is hip hop really is those two, man, more than anything else, which I know it's a weird combo, whatever. Um, fuck off, man. I am the unknown factor. Uh, like to hear there was AI hip hop, and then AI art is someone that's been a fan of comics since I can remember. You know, it's slightly terrifying. All right, but let's get to that in 1 second because I want to come back to what we were talking about, which is 100,000 Deadpool's in the world, man. And I said, man, I'm gonna screw this character's name up, so I'm just gonna let you say the name of the character. But the Were Spider, right?
It's Nana, the
Is
were
Nana.
spider.
Is Nana. Look, man, go check out. Look, I screwed up Tom Brevoort's name so much, and he's an editor in Marvel. I don't know how he doesn't hate me, but I love you, Tom. He's been on the show twice. But I finally know how to pronounce his last name. It takes me a minute. Uh, but I honestly think, like, if you had 100,000 of him out in the real world, it would be very much a positive thing from
It
reading
would be.
through. Yeah. All right. Um, what led you bro, to create that story because there's very much and and firstly I have to ask how much of that has an actual base or was that just things that came out of your head?
Um, a lot of that fell through due to my own interest in Black mythology and Black folklore. and me wanting to make a difference in terms of representation and the type of stories we get, because I still am. I love Greek mythology. I love adaptations of Greek mythology. I love all of it. Like I will sit down and watch. I'll spend a whole week just watching stuff like that. And but the issue, not really an issue, but the fact that on top of my interest for Greek mythology, I'm actually required to know it. You know, like when you go to school, part of grade school is learning about the Greek gods. When you get to college, you got to take a course on Greek mythology and Greek philosophy, Greek gods, all that stuff. Unless, you know, if you want to get your degree on whatever it is. Um, European fairy tales, we got to know them since we're kids. You got to know the main characters, Cinderella, you got to know all them folks. But we are not required to know any of the black gods.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on. Who are you talking about when you say European fairy tales?
We're talking about folks like Cinder.
Yahweh?
I'm talking about like freaking Grimm's shit
Oh, okay,
and
okay, okay.
like that. Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
you was talking about the Holy Bible for a minute, man. Which I don't care. You ain't gonna offend. I promise. I'm pretty far from religious.
I mean, in a sense, the Bible is mythology as well, but people, you know, that's it's asking to get people annoyed and pissed off, but I've done that enough when it comes to Christianity. Um, so I'm not.
Yeah, hey, look, you ain't making me mad, Greg. I promise.
I know I'm not, but that is like I have folks that follow me on my IG page got upset about certain things I posted, and then I'm like, you know what, let me not, let me be cool with y'all today since you guys are supporters and stuff. But nah, you know, me being a huge fan of that, but then when I got to high school, I discovered a book on mythologies from all over the world. After going through the Greek mythology section, I um looked at, you know, Haitian mythology and Haitian background, especially because that's where my parents are from. That's my background. And I was astounded to find the various deities that they had. And then after that, I looked up other black gods in that book. And then that sort of opened up my mind to just all these worldly mythologies that we're not aware of. And it's not just Greek gods and stuff like that. And when I got to college, this is when the switch really came because I again the Greek myths course. I got straight A's. I knew all the answers because I taught myself that since I was a kid. But then that was required. Then when it's time to take electives, that's when I discovered a lot of like black mythology and black folklore. And it was like, so that's an elective, that's an optional class that you want to get. You know, we don't need to know that stuff. And so, learning about various black gods and deities and stories, I started thinking, in what ways can I sort of create something that can continue on this legacy? And given that Anansi the spider in West African and Caribbean folklore, he is the god of stories. I created this Nana to become like the his son, as in the legacy, trying to continue on these stories, and which is why in every different is not a story, you're sort of meeting a different figure from various parts of the black diaspora. You're just having fun with that.
As someone that has studied quite a bit of mythology in my life, from Roman to Greek to Egyptian to Norse, you make me feel like I really missed a big part right now, Greg, just so you know.
Hmm.
And I want to look into it. That's really because, like, reading that story, I'm sitting there, I'm like, there's part of this that seems like it's based in something else that I should be familiar with, but I'm not. You know, just like reading all of the pardon my like I sped read through these, man, because I've got life and I've just and I wanted to make sure and I didn't get you the questionnaire quickly enough, which is entirely on me. But the elephant god.
So the elephant, he's actually, so that one is a character I created,
Is it? Okay.
but he is based off of the common tribe that I was trying to. So even though he had created, I did research on like like where elephants in Africa and East Africa, and they have sort of mythology as well. So I just wanted to honor that a little bit. So there is a mix throughout the It's Not a Stories. There definitely is a mix of me playing around with some mythology and doing my own thing, because in a way, a lot of old stories they were very oral. They weren't really written down. So sometimes we have to unfortunately and fortunately jump into our own imagination, but we want to do it respectfully where you're not offending any cultures, and so I also like, if you read the other stuff like Ogun is not somebody that I created. Ogun is an actual deity in the Yoruba and Haitian voodoo and so on and so forth. And I've had John Henry show up. I've had Rawhead and Bloody Bones from the Gullah Geechee culture, who's like a boogeyman in that culture. I've had various folks, but at the same time, having fun, with if I could create something new with some of using this as an inspiration from different African or Black cultures and stories and stuff.
Greg, I can't tell you how awesome I think that is in all honesty, because I know for a fact, like you've stated, I mean, like Greek mythology, Norse mythology. I mean, it's even heavily used in comics. I mean, look at Thor: Love and Thunder. You know what I mean? They literally introduced Zeus, Ares, and great, and I mean Thor and Loki are clearly Norse, from
Yeah.
Norse mythology. There's a lot. I mean, as well as Odin. Um, that's just really, really cool to me, Greg. In all honesty, like I would, because in all sincerity, you through comics have introduced me to something about mythology that I wasn't aware of, and I've always been a fan of mythology as far as to know, because I think it shows a lot of us as a culture. And I also think if it's so screwy how if you look and study a lot of mythologies, there's so many similarities in certain things. But then if you look at the mythology that you're showing, it lacks a lot of the shit that you see in common with others, you know? Which in my opinion makes it far more intriguing. Because I can't tell you how many different religions I've studied. And I'm like, fuck, there's a tree in all these damn things. And that's the center of everything. You laugh because I'm like totally right.
It's true though. It's true. I never thought about that. I never realized that. That is so freaking true. How have I not thought about that?
I mean, it is, which is kind of screwy. But like I said, then you introduced me to this, and I'm like, huh, this is
There's no
interesting. And you
fucking.
see more of a base in not in not so much, hey, this is a way to punish you in some capacity if you don't go along to a certain order. It's more, hey, look, this is nature, and it is what it is to a certain capacity, you know? Which I think is far, far, far more important to understand that as human beings. I think there are so many things that people don't understand that were created more than anything for two reasons. For one, well, we can't explain that. And two, how can we control someone that's dumber than us?
Yep.
You know, like I don't feel like anything that you presented within this, and you sincerely need to send me some links to some stuff I need to read, and I need to look some stuff up. You got no idea how much you got me feeling that right now, Greg. I can't even tell you. Uh, this isn't a representation of that, as far as either an exertion of control or something where it's like, oh well, if you don't do what we say, you're gonna burn in a fiery pit.
I don't want to get started on this, bro. I don't. I really do not want to get started. I've like fanned the flames enough this week when it
I've
comes
I've
to.
I've never had a guest be like, "Look, would you change the topic?"
Only because I've annoyed enough Christians this week. I think I've reached my quota, my limit.
Oh my god, can I attach fucking a track of mine called Holy Book to this interview so they can go listen to it and they can all be mad at me. Okay? I promise I'll make them mad cuz literally a line in that song is uh Stanley Grader stories. The man, no rival. Just saying. So
Oh,
oh
man.
shit, Greg. Oh, this is good. And can I say too, the fact that you got Sean doing the art on that, man. Like, that's just like shout out to Sean Damian Hill. Check out his full past quest and check out the PanCon he was on. And you can watch that man draw Bugs Bunny or an alien Bugs Bunny. And he gave that thing buck teeth. And if you ain't never seen an alien with buck teeth, I'm telling you, you need that in your life if you're a fan of aliens in any capacity. That shit was hilarious, right? Plus, like I said, there's four other dope artists making four great iterations, man. But since Greg don't want to get into it no more because he don't want to make nobody mad, let's why man? So wait we're gonna go to the questionnaire and I gotta pick on you a little bit. The last three X-Men films,
Yeah.
counting New Mutants.
That was the ones I didn't like, right?
Wait. So I mean that's what you're saying, man. So wait, the last three X-Men films would have been the Phoenix and Apocalypse, right?
Trash.
Okay, not arguing, not hands down,
Yep.
no
Yep.
argument for me. Those films were terrible. They did no justice to those two particular storylines. They did not do justice to Apocalypse. Apocalypse is a character, and I think I may have said this in past quests, that you have to build up like they did Thanos. Like you have to have three, four, five, six films where you're slowly building up, and here come the here come his horsemen, and then suddenly in the last film or the last two films that are like Infinity War and Endgame, you have to deal with Apocalypse, and he's a serious problem. And the Phoenix Saga, well, I hope when Marvel does it, they do it right. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all I can say to that because it's been done wrong. The only time the Phoenix Saga was
Twice.
done justice was the X-Men animated cartoon.
It's been done twice wrong on fucking screen. How? How do you fuck that up? Twice. You had a second chance, and then they gave it to the same person. The same fucking screenwriter who fucked it up the first time. Then they let him do it again.
Are you serious?
I'm pretty sure the screenwriter for Last Stand, he ended up being the director for Dark Phoenix.
That was a bad, 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 bad idea.
That was a terrible ass fucking idea.
Yeah, because he did that film like but I mean there is the whole aspect of look the Dark Phoenix or the Phoenix Saga in its entirety is definitely something you can't do in one film, Greg.
So there's a couple of things. I feel like you can't do it in one film.
Yeah.
Also, the way the X films were done originally, trying to add aliens out of nowhere would have made shit very weird. You know what I mean? Like they finally brought in the aliens for Dark
Here
Phoenix, but
comes
then
the
it was
Shi'ar Empire.
yeah, it's like what the fuck is this? Um, and mind you, so that's been one of like my not I wouldn't call it a pet peeve. It's more so when it comes to the themes of X-Men, whenever the aliens become involved, not even just the shows, but like the even the comics, I mentally sort of check out. It's weird. Like I have this weird like I don't want to see the aliens in the X-Men because I feel like you have the whole grounded themes of like the discrimination and all that other stuff that they're reading, and all of a sudden now there's like aliens. Although I feel like a good writer could really find a way to work the themes all together. But it's like once they show up, I'm like, what the fuck? What like how does this? I don't get it. But I think I'm one of the minority when it comes to that. But
I mean, no, I mean, I get your point because the X-Men, as far as within the Marvel universe, are very grounded in what they do. Even though it's they have the X gene and they're a random pack of people that are just have crazy powers. Um,
yeah,
I do get your point as far as when you suddenly introduce the Shi'ar Empire and Gladiator and all that, or even the Brood, which clearly I want to point out the Brood is clearly a take on aliens.
yep, yep.
Anyone that doesn't think that, you don't know who the Brood are. I'm very curious to see if they bring them into the MCU, especially now that they own Fox. Hell, they
Yeah.
could totally just use aliens and get away with it.
Now they can, because now the fucking aliens are set up, right? Now we know there's aliens out there. We know there's all these different dimensions and shit. But now when you have like the Fox X films and you just have the aliens show, no, not even just the aliens. Oh my god, you making me geek out right now, bro. So then fucking the Apocalypse movie, in order to defeat Apocalypse, out of nowhere, Jean just comes out with the Phoenix that doesn't get set up. There's no hints to it, nothing. It's just out of nowhere. Release yourself, fucking Phoenix. Okay, terrible. And then on top of that, the next film, Dark Phoenix Saga, is supposed to take place 10 years later. All of a sudden, she gets the Phoenix powers after we just saw you defeat Apocalypse 10 years before, and all of a sudden you get your powers for the first time through a fucking space accident. Like, you know what?
Okay, so
I can't.
I can't argue with you, Greg, on those films. But the New Mutants, what was your problem? What was your beef with the New Mutants, man?
That was just bad. That was boring. I have okay. So I was looking forward to it more than anyone else in terms of the fact of like the Demon Bear storyline is a fucking amazing. Um,
Yeah.
I love that run of the New Mutants was great. So then when I found out they were making, not only were they making it, but they were trying to go for like a horror film. I was like, oh my god, yes, because I love horror, and I'm like, I'd love to see more experimentations in genre, especially it's like seeing a fucking superhero movie in horror, which is why I love Doctor Strange too. When they mix the horror finally into some superhero films.
You can blame,
So
you can totally blame Sam Raimi for that shit, right?
I love,
That,
yes,
that,
thank you.
that's all Sam Raimi, right? That's all Sam Raimi, and a great director.
Which, on the side, I find very interesting because the first director for the first Doctor Strange movie, he's a horror director, and so I think it would have been dope. But you can tell like a lot of this was definitely editorial. This was producers, and so it's like his style definitely was empty. Like you didn't see it in the first Doctor Strange movie. Which, if I recall, one of his earlier interviews, he did bring up wanting to add some of like those horror elements, but I guess the final results was what we got. But once Sam Raimi comes, it's Sam Raimi. He's gonna do what he wants. You know, he's gonna get what he wants. It's Sam Raimi.
Like,
He gave
look,
us like
I'm gonna
two of the
put Bruce Campbell in this film. I don't give a shit what you say.
exactly, exactly, exactly. Like, and there's like a style, like even the style when Scarlet Witch is just floating in the air and then you getting all those like the crossfades happening. We didn't have that in any of the previous Marvel films. Like you see like just stupid experimental shit like that. It's just like, yo, we need this. We haven't had that. Everything started to feel very same and like repetitive and formulaic when it came to the Marvel film. So this new phase that people hate so much is like the experimental phase, and it's because people are not used to it. They're not used to this style of storytelling.
I mean, that's fair, but still, why did you hate the New Mutants, man? I don't get it.
It was boring. It was boring as hell. There was the characters was blah. I hated the colorism aspect of it as well. So how do you have Sunspot, whose powers in the comics was ignited because he was experiencing racism because of him being a dark-skinned Brazilian? Like, if you read the New Mutants, that is his origin story. He was playing soccer. He got bullied by his opponents because he was black, and then that anger that he felt ignited his mutant powers. And then now it's like you sometimes you pick up an X-Men book, it's like they try to remove his blackness. His skin is light. He passes off as white, and then you cast a white Brazilian in the movie, and you totally remove that origin. And then when they confronted the director about it, he had some stupid ass, dumbass, fucking response that was like, "Yo, what?" And it was like, so that was one of the biggest offense for me. Aside from that, just the quality of the storytelling, I just thought was very boring. The style just did not work at all. There was like no excitement going on. The scary horror scenes did not connect. It's just, I don't know. It was like almost in terms of how bored I was watching the movie, it was literally right there next to the Dark Phoenix.
I'll be honest, maybe it was because my expectations for Fox X-Men films was set real fucking low, you
Yeah.
know? I mean, because in all honesty, short of the couple standouts I can think of, like Logan, obviously, is a great film.
Yeah.
They did Deadpool so much justice as far as they actually get, like when they did the actual Deadpool film. Not Wolverine Origins. Oh my god, why you gotta seal his mouth shut? He's the merc with the mouth. I never understood that. But when they
I don't
did,
know. That
yeah,
movie doesn't exist. That movie doesn't exist.
it
It's
shouldn't.
this.
Yeah, um, but but the actual Deadpool films where he goes full cost and it is Ryan Reynolds. I mean, it's Deadpool. It's that's probably literally one of the most comic accurate representations I can think of. Period in comic book films.
That is because Ryan Reynolds is a Deadpool fan and he is a comic fan.
But do you know that really it's because at one point Fabian, check out his past interview. I love Fabian. I ain't even trying to pronounce that motherfucker's last name. Have you seen Fabian's last name? Like, what the shit?
Isn't it Naseza?
Huh?
Isn't it Naseza?
Man, that might be right. Whatever. I'm bad. Then we get through this, Greg, that I'm bad with names. All right. I'm bad with names. All right. I'm bad with them. It's just flat out a fact. Right. But I love Fabian. I love all his work, man. I got a book of his I still need, like I've gotten a couple chapters into I still need to read. I just fucking time's a bitch and I need more of it, man. I need like that Jamie Madrox ability where I can just clone myself a couple times.
Oh my god! I wanted to write that as my superpower that I want. I was gonna write that, but I was like, I already mentioned two. You asked for one.
Man, and what kind of cheating shit is that too? On a different note. Yeah? Yeah? Like, hold on. I said one. You're like, I want super speed and telepathy. And I just want to put like what the fuck, Greg? Like, what the fucking absolute shit? What are you trying to take over the planet with super speed and telepathy? Like, what else are you trying to do?
And Jamie Madrox's power. And Jamie, imagine what the three, bro. What? Yo, I want it. 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 All right, back to Fabian DeSouza.
Just what the shit you trying to do with super speed, telepathy, and the ability to multiply yourself just by going, right? Like,
Is it?
no, dude. Imagine. Let's take this to a different level. So you got super speed. You run into a brick wall. Suddenly, there's 1,000 of you.
Thank you for that idea. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
But back to Fabian. Like I said, he actually wrote a line in Deadpool at one point that was like, "Man, I look just like Ryan Reynolds," because Deadpool at a point had been fucked with by Loki, and he looked like Ryan Reynolds. And Ryan Reynolds looking into that is what caused his fascination with Deadpool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Fucking love it.
So technically, one of the co-creators of Deadpool, who, as I said, you can check out his quest on this wherever you're at, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube. Put questionnaire. You can find where we've just sat and had a quest with Fabian. I need to bring him back for either just bullshit one-on-one or PanCon, one or the other.
Oh, when you mentioned the comic, some of the most comic accurates we have. I just watched Sin City the other day again after like years. Like that, I say that and The Crow were probably like some of the most comic accurate.
All right, so you bring up two films. I'm curious, how many people do you think watched those two films and had no idea they were comic books?
Well, maybe The Crow, I would argue maybe a lot of people did not. I feel by the time Sin City came, they marketed the fuck out of the graphic novels at the time.
You
So I
know,
think it was hard not to realize that it was actually based off the graphic novels.
I would agree with you, Greg, if it wasn't for the fact that recently Dave, who runs the This Month in Comics with me, right? He told me recently that at least once a week he has someone walk in the store and go, they made Walking Dead comic books? Oh, and like thinking that the comics came from the show's existence,
Yeah.
not the other way around.
Hmm.
So based on knowing that, I mean, I know for a fact, I can't tell you how many people probably went and seen The Crow. And oh God, I wish I could remember who exactly whose quest it was that we said this on. It's like oh shit, hold on. Fuck, I can't remember without getting into past questionnaires, which I could, but I'm not going to right now. It would take too much time because it was somebody that said that was their favorite adaptation of comics. Um, I'll fucking type in the I'll type in the description, and wherever the description is, you can figure out exactly what I'm referring to. But how many people went and watched The Crow and instantly turned into goth kids when they should have turned into comic nerds?
Well, remember back then, well, I was young back then, but um it just wasn't that cool to be in the comics back then. You know, I think it was still a very niche type of thing. Like, I mean, people were into comics, but it was like unless you were fucking Batman, it really wasn't that big of a thing. I'd say things started to change what when Blade, the Blade and Spider-Man and X-Men films came out.
But again, now and shout out to Blade, man.
But yeah, a lot of people did
Boom!
not
Look at
know.
that! Look at that! You see that? You see it right there, Greg?
Hey, I love that.
That's from like fucking when the original Blade movie came out from a Wizard World from when I was like 15. So it's been like
That was
it's been a long ass time, and we'll just leave it at that, right? Right.
cool, man.
I still got that motherfucking foam ass blade shit from like getting it from a comic con way back there. But how many people you wouldn't think seen that just because it was Wesley Snipes slaying
A lot of
vampires?
yeah. I don't think a lot of people even started to realize that Blade was a comic character until the third film. Like seriously, because that was when we started seeing like the Marvel, like the actual Marvel logo with it.
Yeah.
You know, they were like pushing it as a Marvel film, and I remember realizing that. And I know a lot of folks was like, Blade is a comic character. And it was just like, so you didn't watch the Spider-Man show? And then that's when they're like, oh my god, that was Blade. I'm like, yes, you
I love how you took that back to the Spider-Man animated series,
know.
bro. Holy
Because that was his
shit.
first ever adaptation appearance
Oh,
was Eddie's show.
that was just a nice.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, man. Maybe you need to host a podcast, Greg, the way you took that fucking shit. I'm just saying, like, damn, right? But,
I know my shit, man.
oh, man, I could tell, man. But look, I gotta say, then you bring up, right, Batman versus Superman, Sucker Punch, and Alpha Dog, right? Like, Alpha Dog, like, we ain't even gonna talk about it. That's some, like, who the fuck's in that? I can't remember.
Bruce Willis, Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake. Thank you. That was the name I was looking for. Whatever, man. It was all right, but not really. You know what I mean? Batman versus Superman as a like. Look, that's the whole thing. I think the problem with that film is the fact that they were trying to set up way too much, way too quickly. You know, I mean that's all it was, man. Right? Like, let me see though.
Boring.
Just
And
right.
it was boring. How do you make that movie boring? How do you
I,
have the biggest fucking icons in the history of pop culture, not even comic books, of pop culture, like a boring ass movie? And then on top of that, the you introduce Superman in one film. Why not, given that the movie is supposed to be based off of the politics of needing Superman, maybe give us another film first, and then you watch Batman vs Superman. He's barely in the movie.
but
the The movie literally revolves around, do we need a Superman? But he's actually barely in the fucking movie.
but you say all the Zack Snyder films, right? Did you not like the Snyder cut?
I didn't love it. I didn't hate it.
Okay. So I'm look and look. Here's my opinion of the Snyder cut. Like one, oh my god, it should have been two fucking films. That is way
Mhm.
too much. Because I think I had to sit down. I think I sat down at least 3 or 4 different times before I got all the way through that long ass motherfucker. I'm glad they divided it into chapters the way they did. Are you shitting me? Who the fuck needs a fucking 4 hour film? At least they weren't walking to just dispose of a ring. But we won't get into that shit either, right? Uh, but
Oh, I love that movie.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, what the Lord of the Rings? Like all they did was fucking. All they was what? Motherfucker, you had a griffin. Fly your ass there, drop it in, and fuck off. All right. You don't need fucking three goddamn films to fucking get there with a long ass trail. What the fucking shit? Like you got a griffin, motherfucker. Hop on the griffin, drop it from the sky.
But then they would have
All
gotten
done.
caught by the eye.
Okay. So you land to where the eye can't catch you, and
You you anywhere up there, he would have caught your ass. That's why they had to go through that particular path that he couldn't see. So that was
It was
that
three
was
motherfuckers walking for three. It was a shitload of motherfuckers walking for 3 films, Greg. It was a bit much. All
but
right.
shit was down though. But shit was going down.
It was. Uh, wait.
Oh,
Oh my God. Look. I just. Oh no. Okay. Never mind. I read that wrong. You said Idris Ebna. Ebna. I fucking totally fucked his name up too. See, look.
Idris Elba.
I told you I fuck people's names up. Did I not, Greg?
Idris Elba. How do you not know
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba?
Look, I do, man. I do. When I see the name, it don't mean I can pronounce it. All right, but I do. I love him as a performer, man. I can't tell you how many things I've seen him in where he is phenomenal, man. I wish they would have given him a more prominent role within Marvel as opposed to just him being
Heimdall.
Heimdall. Yeah. You know what I mean? I wish he would have had something that was a bit more forward in the Marvel universe. In all sincerity, because that dude's a phenomenal actor. And I mean, he killed that role, but then they killed him. You know, all right. But I thought for a minute you said the dude's playing the Flash when I looked at it initially.
Nah, we ain't gonna talk about that.
Why
Talk
not,
about
man?
white
You're not trying to
privilege.
make anybody else mad on this interview, Greg?
That's just some white privilege shit.
Dude, that ain't white privilege. That's money privilege.
It's both privilege.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I will fully
But
give you that.
I
And I,
think there might be a bit more to this because I've realized, and I pointed this out to certain people, he is not attached to any other films after this movie. So we don't know. Like a lot of people are saying, maybe this is like the goodbye film for him. or whatever. But then I read that statement from the director saying that they're not planning on recasting him because this is who they see as the Flash. I'm like, let this motherfucker go, bro. Like, come on.
Look, I fully agree. Fully agree.
Oh, say them. I keep saying him.
Yeah,
I want to them.
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 You're
To
right.
go
Yeah,
back.
don't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that, like, fuck that, dude. Just give me Wally West. Like, why don't you like in this just present Wally West as a character? Because I'm sorry, and it's terrible, bro. Because old boy that played the Flash in the show,
I
awesome
loved him.
job,
Yeah.
good dude. As far as everything I've seen from him, you know what I mean. Just can you at least just give me Wally West at the end of this Flash film, and continue on with that. I'm totally good with that because this dude, in my opinion, with what he's done, has kind of ruined the Flash at least for a while, as far as the Barry Allen version for the DCU,
Yeah.
which is sad, man. That's like one of like five characters in the DC universe I give a shit about.
Not even 6 for 5.
But look, man, I'm look, like I'm gonna be honest, man. Like I love both the Green Lanterns, man. Hal and John, right? They're dope. I don't know much about anybody beyond that, to be real honest, as far as the Green Lanterns are concerned. But Hal and John are dope. Uh, I love both the Flashes, Wally and Barry, right? They're dope. And then I love me some Lobo, right? Um, and if you want to hear, man, I'll give you a sixth one. The main character from Hitman, from Garth Ennis. But Garth Ennis took that character from introducing him to murdering him, right? So, you know, what you could do in that case, Greg? Shit, I don't. If they ever get to the point where they introduce Hitman into the DC, I mean, I like Constantine too. All right, so I mean, I guess if I really sat there and strummed through it, man, there's probably like a good 10 characters in DC. I'm like, those are dope characters. I'd really have
Yeah.
to sit here and think to get beyond seven though, because those seven, I mean, like, yeah, Constantine and yeah, no, okay, seven, man, seven, not five, seven. Seven characters in the DCU that I'm like, those characters are dope because the rest of them, to a certain degree, in my opinion, and then it's bad that I say this based on the show that I run, and I got a couple creators coming on from DC, and I'm trying to get more, but like, there's just certain characters in DC, I'm like, you kind of fucking dopey, you know? Like Batman is a perfect example of that. We've gone into past shows, but like, man, if that ain't fucking white privilege, the fuck is?
Oh yeah, that's his superpower.
I mean, shit, I
Power.
forgot.
Is it not? Is it not?
I would be laughing so hard if you wasn't fucking right, Greg. Oh my god. I never realized that Batman had a superpower and it was white privilege.
There you go.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This should totally be your preview right now of you just bursting into laughter.
Um, oh, fucking shit. And like, Batman's superpower is white privilege, and then 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 this show just gets canceled. Cause look, man, and I say that because, like I go to Comic Book University. That's my local comic shop. You know what I mean? Like, and Dave runs this month in comics with me, man, where we talk all kinds of current comics that are coming up and this and that have dropped that month. um, and one day he was doing all the pools for DC, and I shit you not, here's Batman, right? Like this huge stack of just people that are pulling Batman. Here's everything else from DC,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it's like Batman is like twice or a little bit more, and then here's DC,
Yeah.
which based on the fact that fuck, you're right, Greg. Fucking white privilege is that motherfucker's superpower. All right.
Oh man.
I well, it's because it's funny, man. Because we've discussed him on several different past episodes, and I've always said this is the craziest fucking hero out there. You know what I mean? Like out of every hero you could sit there and name, he's crazier than all of them. You
Hmm.
know, like because
He's
he
a nut.
has.
He's a nutcase, bro. I love the character, but he's a nutcase.
No, man. Are you sure? Now, do you love Batman or do you love his villains?
I love everything about the Batman mythos. I love him. I love the villains. There's so many great stories. Like he is a whole like psychological thing to just deal with. On the- like fucking the Grant Morrison Arkham Asylum, where he you see how even mentally fucked up he can be himself, and it's very subtle. Like I love that shit.
I, man, you called Batman superpower, and I'm not gonna be able to get over that, Greg, for the longest fucking time, bro. It's gonna, like, cause look, man, like, let me see. All right, no, like, oh no, that was someone else's questionnaire. My bad. I got Andy coming up, and he was the one that went from hating Superman to loving Superman, which confused me. But I was thinking it was Batman. We've had. Well, it's funnily enough, as far as for least and most favorite character, I think those have appeared the most. Um, as far as those two, I'm on both ends. You know what I mean? But oh Jesus, Greg, I'm sorry, I can't move past the fucking white privilege statement. That's the fucking funniest, most on point shit I think I've ever fucking heard on the show. Like, yeah, this motherfucker's superpower is right white privilege. We're gonna put that up as a mini bit, and then we're both gonna get canceled.
Go for it. Go for
What happened to the questionnaire? Well, you see, what happened was they had Greg on.
it.
But yo, I'll tell you what I want to know. Why Wolverine, man? Why?
So I don't mind him now, but as a kid, I did not like him. I just did not. So since I was a kid, I love Cyclops. Cyclops is like my guy. Cyclops is my guy, and I love even more as I get older because they started writing him as like this radical mutant leader, and I just can't help thinking of him as like a black radical guy who really believes in his peoples. Um, and so, but I feel like with Logan, when I was younger, everyone was like, because he was like this fucking the rogue loner guy who automatically that makes him cool. But then I'm like, nah, he's fucking annoying, you know.
Please, just
But I think it was also just my type of characters that I like. So even with the turtles, Leonardo is like my favorite, and Raphael is probably like my least favorite. But I don't mind him. He's cool to this day. Now I don't. Wolverine doesn't bother
I
me,
just
but as a
real
kid,
quick. I just gotta let you know. You know Michelangelo's the best turtle amongst them all, right?
it's Leo.
No, it's
It's Leo.
Michelangelo. That's why he is the last Ronin.
It's Leo.
And Leo's fucking dead, man. I don't want to hear it.
The reason why Michelangelo is the last Ronin is because they wanted to really subvert the fact that he is the jokester character. He's the wisecracker, and the most dramatic turn you can do is by having him become the last one of them.
No, see, you say that, but you realize there have been past episodes or past issues of the Ninja Turtles where they had him like he was listening to headphones and Splinter was trying to attack him and he's just evading, and then Splinter knocks the headphones off and he gets popped in the head and he's like, "The hell's going on?" No, dude, Michelangelo is the best amongst them because
I bet
because
you
he's
have.
not serious. That's why he's the best amongst them, is because he's able to find that lightheartedness in the most
Uh-huh.
dire of times.
I'll let you have that. I'll let you have that. I won't even argue against that. All right. But my favorite
All right, fair
is
enough.
Leo. Is Leo. But overall, I just love the turtles, man. I love all four of them.
I gotta ask, man, are you reading this?
So I have the first couple of issues. I've yet to really dig into. I've actually gotten through certain scenes, but I've mainly just been looking at the artwork because it's fucking Sean. But
Oh,
there's different moments that I've read that I was like, oh, I like this a lot. Especially going into the whole psyche of our bishop, the 616 bishop, sort of not knowing his place if he were to actually be peaceful. Like if all that was if he grew up in a different setting and he didn't have to fight anymore, and which I think is a great idea simply because Bishop, I feel like he's one of those characters that writers don't know what the fuck to do with him except make him be this guy who's always ready to fight and who's always like war. His background. We see his background
yeah.
where he came
Holtham
from.
is killing that storyline, bro. I will say, and,
Mhm.
and Sean's killing the art in it too. And I like you can go back and look at Sean's interview. And I'm not trying to say this just to placate on Sean because he did a phenomenal job on the Were Spider as well. He did a phenomenal job drawing a xenomorph Bugs Bunny. He caught the essence of Bishop within this.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like he caught even like I think when I had him on only issue one it dropped. But when Bishop is like screaming and then it's like that's how you see me, like he caught in the face the real emotion of Bishop, man. And I think between that and this and the story that Holtam is writing, which like you say is something that makes it to where Bishop is like, this is weird, man. Like, what if I had grown up in peace? When I mean, he very much grew up in hell. Let's be
Hell yeah.
honest, you know. Yeah, like it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Bishop story arcs. And I mean, that's look, when it comes to the X-Men, Deadpool, Bishop, two favorite characters.
Yeah.
Period. Like I love those two characters. I always have. And it's probably part of me that's like because I always kind of felt like an outcast and shit, and they are very much outcasts,
Yeah.
respectively. Um, but it's and I say almost because I don't know. It's either that or Age of Apocalypse. Like
Mhm.
that's a rough one for me to pick between, Greg. They're both real solid Bishop stories.
Have you read the last X-Men? His last X-Men run?
Oh, now
It
you're
was I think it was the 90s. I think it was the 90s. He had his own series for a while.
part of me thinks because I love District X where they
I
did
loved
that.
it.
Yeah, that was District X was awesome.
I loved
Yeah.
That should have been a TV show, honestly.
Oh, mm.
Right? Think about
Hey,
it. That
hey,
would have been
hey!
a dope TV show.
Marvel's got them rights now, man. It just might happen, Greg.
That would be amazing.
Oh,
Especially if you have like fucking Mutant Town, which was like the mutant ghetto. Like that was a great premise. And then David Hine was like the boss to write that shit.
oh, oh! I would so love to see that, Greg, like that. Oh, oh! If they
Yeah,
set up and did it to where he had Shard with him, and
that'd be
oh,
cool.
oh, that would be beyond phenomenal, man. I'm curious, then, in your opinion, man, like you very much didn't like the X-Men films. We know for a fact that a certain percentage of the X-Men are going to get introduced within Deadpool 3, right?
Hmm.
I mean, it's gonna happen. Like anybody that isn't aware of that, that's a comic book geek. You're fucking naive, man. What are you thinking? Like apparently, Halle Berry has got silver hair again. Like she's probably coming back as Aura. You know what I mean? And you're probably gonna see some Storm. Um, and I mean, there's rumors of a number of other people returning for who knows what. What's your opinion? Like, what are you looking forward to from Marvel? Like, what do you think they're gonna do now that they have full rights to the X-Men, knowing that at least a part of it, at least a sliver, is gonna get introduced in that next Wade Wilson film?
So I think they should go the direction of Ultimate X-Men, the first arc that came out when Mark Millar was writing. Even though I'm not a huge Mark Millar fan, but I love some of his concept and his ideas, and I feel like the Ultimate X-Men, which is funny because that was supposed to be inspired by the X films when they came out, but it's still its own thing. But I feel like just more so not of like the whole edginess thing that they're going for, but just like the who was the core team members in the beginning to go with that dream that Xavier was going for. I think that would be it. I definitely feel like they should definitely have Iceman and have him be the queer character because that's it's the X-Men also. It doesn't make sense why you have this franchise that's supposed to be about the discrimination of of anyone who's an outcast, whether it is just being a teenager, this is being a particular race or sexual orientation, and yet they're barely ever the actual characters of the main stories, which is something I find so funny.
Yeah,
But I would like to see that. Iceman and Storm, if they're in the very beginning and alliteration of them coming, I think that would be they should go with that.
well, I mean, I think, like I said, with that Instagram post from Halle Berry, I think that's something that is potentially in the works. Hopefully, I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, but
Storm. Like we need I would love to see an actual like a dark skinned woman playing Storm. We've never gotten that. Hopefully it would be great if they get someone from Africa who can actually do an African accent, you know, because that's a huge part of of the character.
that's
So
like, can I say you get yeah, and look, Chatham, you can be like tanning Chatham as Gambit.
you know, I can see it. I
Really?
can, yeah. So when I can see, I don't know about now. Now I don't know. I feel like he's probably starting to age out of the role. But I feel like okay. So when you see different roles that he has done, and you see him outside of his roles, he's extremely charming. And Gambit has that whole charm thing, as well as the fact that he is also from the same area Gambit was supposed to be from, and he can also do the accent. Like he's done the accent before in interviews, and he can actually do it. And I definitely think he's a much charming actor than Taylor Kish, who played that's his name.
The dude that played Gambit in Origins? Look, man, can we stop bringing up Wolverine Origins? Like you said, that film shouldn't exist. It's literally
Exists.
like
My
I
mind just
can't, I can't,
this
like, if you look at Wolverine Origins, I can't think of a positive part of that film that works going forward. I really can't. Like, the only thing I found funny is if you look at the parts before they sealed his mouth shut with Wade Wilson, Ryan Reynolds, and he's just talking shit to everybody. That's it. That is the only good parts of Wolverine Origins is when fucking Ryan Reynolds is just being Wade Wilson before he gets all screwed up, right? Besides that, I don't know that that film has a single saving grace.
I did like Agent Zero.
Okay. So two.
So
They
two
did that
things.
right. All right, but that's
That's
it,
it.
man. And how little were
That's
they in that film? What, 20 minutes combined together, if that?
yeah.
Yeah,
Terrible.
no, the bad
Terrible.
movie, bad
Terrible.
fucking movie.
That doesn't exist. You're
Yeah,
making this up. You're just
uh,
making it up. We're just making it up. That's all. I don't know what you're talking about. The
We're just
first time
talking
I
about
ever
a
saw
film that's
Ryan
never
Reynolds
been
in
shot
Deadpool,
before.
we're making this all up. The first time Ryan Reynolds has ever played Deadpool was the first Deadpool movie. That's it.
That man, can I say too? On a note of Ryan Reynolds, how much balls do you have to have behind a character to be like, I'm gonna fund this whole thing to the highway scene? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
And then just put it out on the internet anonymously. My fucking ass, Ryan. I don't know how you got that dropped anonymously, right?
because trying not to, right? Fox was not with it, and then he just decided, "Fuck it, I'm gonna release it."
Like, I'm just gonna give it to a friend, and then I'm gonna tell that friend to give it to a friend. And look, 5 friends down the line, you fucking just put it on YouTube, and like, that's got to be the ballsiest move in Hollywood, I think, about ever, really, here recently.
Oh, did you see um that clip that Donald Glover did for Deadpool?
Oh, where with the wait, what?
Animated. Because remember, Donald Glover was originally attached to do a Deadpool cartoon show, and they scrapped
Oh,
it, but they
yeah.
released like a few minutes of it, and that shit was crazy.
No, I didn't see because I when you say Donald Glover, I remember as far as with in the Spider-Man films, the recent one, them kind of bringing in him and him bringing up
That's the
Miles
problem.
Morales.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I would have loved, and now again, this is an issue. I don't know. He's probably definitely at this point aged out, but he would have been an awesome Miles Morales, man.
I mean, he was never the age for Miles, even though
Uh,
he inspired the creation of Miles. But um, I could see somebody like I don't know if you ever watched Blackish,
I've seen an episode or two.
the
I don't.
youngest son. I think he would be a good Miles Morales.
Do I want to see Miles in live action so bad? Like, but is it fucked up? There's part of me, and I know they did it, but I really wanted to see Green Goblin kill Aunt May, and then them two die in a battle with one another, like they did in the Ultimate. I mean, I know they don't want to do it because they don't want to just kill him off like that. But like, there are very few comics that have ever made me tear up a little. Man, I can mention two, right? And one of them is the end of that Ultimate where he's like, "I did it. I couldn't save Ben, but I saved you." And I was like, "God damn, Peter!" You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that shit was rough. The other one is by Erica Schultz, so you can check out her past interview with the Deadliest Bouquet because that I don't know if you've ever read The Deadliest Bouquet, but
Mhm.
that shit's got a rough fucking ending, Greg.
Mm.
God damn, man. Fucking James Emmett let it fucking because James Emmett's the editor. You can also check out his interview, uh, where he questioned with his man. But like, I'm like, fuck you both for letting that shit fly. It made me fucking water up a little on the eyes, and man, like it was fucking harsh, man. And I mean, I've read a lot of comics in my day, like a lot. But there's only two that I can say ever made me like a little bit in the eyes, you know, like damn, right? But I will say, but you, Greg, have got me on a note that no one else has, as the fact of like, damn, I need to study some different mythology, like, because I'm seriously sitting there reading Where Spider, and I'm going through it, and I'm like. I could I could sense in reading it that there was something here that I should have been aware of as a member of the human fucking race. You know what I mean? Like as a member of this species, with everything that I know, especially about other mythology from Greek to Norse to all of this, that I really should have been aware of, but it kind of annoys me that I wasn't. You know what I mean? But I think it's society has systemically made it to where, like you said, Greek mythology is a class that you're required to take. You know, where none of the other is,
Hmm.
which And that just strikes me as really fucking odd. You know, especially like I'm saying when, like I said earlier, when you look at those mythologies, you know, like Norse mythology is about, oh, die in battle, you'll get to Valhalla, right? Christian mythology, yeah, I said it, y'all. Don't get pissed. Get pissed if you want to. I don't care. Uh, is about be good or I'll spank you. So is Allah. So is like Egyptian mythology. You have to go around a certain route to reach this. You know, like it's all based on finding a certain path. When I read this, it's more like, hey man, this is the world, and it's all, you know what I mean? And it's just a different level that God, dude, I wish I'd have been exposed to when I was 15, to be real honest.
Now's the time, man. Now's the time. That so the way I write this series, honestly, it's I hope that I entertain people enough for them to do their own research on who some of these figures are. And I've had people tell me like they looked up certain characters and they were like, "Oh, I had no idea this was, somebody out there. Like these people have stories. These characters have stories." And that so I don't write to spoon feed people stuff because I want people to actually do their own sort of own research. So if that does inspire you, that'd be great.
Oh, dude,
So
no. Like I said, I told you
yeah,
to send me links, damn it. Greg, come on. I'm going to send you a dope picture Sean drew on the show. Just send me a couple links, bro. That's all I'm asking, right?
I got you, my guy.
But man, I'm coming to the conclusion. There were three things you said you really wanted to cover because, it's a questionnaire. You're gonna be able to pay on Patreon to see all these questionnaires here soon, right? One of them being Patreon,
Of
right?
course. Yes.
Right?
Get on my Patreon, Greg Day.
There's a link in the description to his Patreon. There's probably not one to the questionnaire yet, man. I got so much shit I gotta set up to where like when it's right, you can go on and like read 50 different questionnaires from 50 different people, and you can actually understand half the shit I'm bringing up and see them answer a bunch more questions that I didn't bring up. You know what I mean? Like, because it's just a bunch of stuff that I have random artists answer. That's why Andy was so damn confused as far as why he went on a podcast and didn't bring any of this shit up.
That's funny, yo. That's
Dude, I'm
funny.
talking like he's from Canada too. And he calls me at the end of the night. I was like, man, I was really confused why they didn't bring up that questionnaire. I just didn't say nothing. And I'm like, I'd have been pissed if I went on an interview and you're talking about you made me fill out a fucking 25 page questionnaire and then you just
Uh,
didn't bring up none of the shit. I'm like, what the fuck was the point of that? Right? But the other one, right, is Dreamer. Yo, what's Dreamer, Greg?
so Dreamer is this book that I wrote for Scholastic and Kaepernick Publishing. It's based off of the life of Akeem Aliru, who is an actual hockey player, and he is Nigerian and Ukrainian. And the book sort of covers pretty much his life story and him dealing with racism in the hockey league. And they have this saying that hockey is for everyone, but there's a lot of hazing and a lot of racist situations that happen. Some stuff that unfortunately did not get into the book because I wasn't aware of so much of it. But we cover that. We cover his parents and what they went through being an interracial couple because they've lived together in Ukraine as well as Nigeria, and so there's definitely been a lot of discriminations that they dealt with, and how that sort of helps shapes who Akeem ends up being to this day.
That is a crazy combination for a child to have, like to live in the Ukraine and Nigeria. And I can only imagine the amount of crap you would get, regardless of where you were at, because you're obviously getting it from one side or the other. And just,
Yep. Yep.
man.
Yep. And it was quite a story because I got to interview I interviewed him a couple of times. We got to hang out too during the press release, and but I also interviewed his parents, both of them,
Oh,
and so I was able to actually meet a couple of folks in his life to help create this story. And it was I co-wrote it. I based a lot of it based off of some uh, things that he wrote himself, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time writing this, and always trying to see how I can spread the word, get those sales up if possible.
hell yeah. And look, I want to let you know, for anybody out there watching this right now, you can find links in the description to all of Greg's work, man. Check that shit out. I highly recommend The Were Spider. I really do. Especially if you are a fan of mythology in any capacity. Especially like, look, if you dig Thor or Loki or that, like from the MCU, read The Were Spider because it is a different side of it that I think you should experience if you're a fan of that. And I mean that sincerely. I really do. Plus, fuck, you got Sean drawing that second book, and just, God damn, bro. Just, I can't. And I'm not. Sean's gonna be like, this motherfucker's like giving me weight. No, man, I say what I say, Sean, because you kill that shit, man. Like, there's a reason. Like the five of them on that PanCon, that shit was fucking hilarious to see, from like a Bugs Bunny alien to a My Little Pony alien to a Little Mermaid My Little Alien to a cat dog
That's a
to a cat dog alien, right? All right. You ever seen cat dog as an alien, bro?
No, I've never seen Cat Dog as an alien.
All right. Well, you keep track of the questionnaire background here, because Hugh's gonna send me that shit. And it will be in the background sooner than later,
Mm.
ladies and gentlemen. I promise you that. Because Cat Dog is an alien. That shit's funny as hell, man. It really is. I can't even tell you, Sean. Man. Like, so make sure you click all them links in the descriptions from Patreon. Make sure you check out his work. I God damn, that weird spider, like, bro, you got me like, you got me needing the Jamie Madrox's power so I can like have a bunch of motherfuckers go out and read shit for me, and then I can just reabsorb them and know it, cause like I ain't got the fucking time,
I
Greg.
hear you, man.
All right,
I'm in the same boat.
well, I gotta edit this show and shit. You know what I mean? So it don't just look like it does now. It looks all pretty and shit with graphics and all that. So when I say some shit about, look at this motherfucking Trump fucking Punisher skull, blah blah blah, like how dumbass is that? Yo, I gotta touch on that with you, Greg. Right? Because you've obviously been. What's your opinion of the Punisher as a character? Like him? Don't like him?
um, for the most part, I do like him.
Okay.
For the most part, when I was a kid, I loved him as a kid.
Okay.
As I got older, the whole aspect of this white man going around taking the law in his hands. But the thing is, the reason why I'm like I like him for the most part, I hate to say it, but some of these folks that he goes after need to go.
Okay. So we touched on this recently in an episode of This Month in Comics, and we'll be touching on it in the next episode, which is probably already up, based on, I need to get that shit out quick, because, just fucking the month has passed, and I got to get shit to where it drops proper, and you motherfuckers know what's come out in May and all that. So you should be able to probably drop it check it out at this point. Um, what do you think about the fact that the police have adopted that as a fucking
See,
symbol?
and that is the problematic aspect that I don't like. I don't like what he has inspired, which I find very, very funny because when you read the Garth Ennis version of Punisher, he goes after the people that he inspired because they took the wrong message from him, from what he was doing, and it's just what these cops are doing. They're taking the wrong message from the Punisher and trying to apply it and trying to see themselves as Frank Castle. But I'm like, no, that is not what he's about. And then on top of that, you guys were literally characters that he killed off in his own fucking book. And I find it funny that no one, I haven't heard many people bring that up. But when I remember thinking that.
Hey, firstly, that's because Garth knows what he's doing when it comes to writing, right? Let's be real honest. I've never read a Garth Ennis comic that I was not a fucking fan of, man. That's just the case. Whether it be Preacher, Punisher, The Boys, Crossed, I mean, you fucking name it. Even though I'll say it again, I've said it in the past episode, I'll say it again. Crossed should never be anything other than a comic book. Okay? Ever. Like every other piece of Garth Ennis's work, please make it something. Make the Were Spider. Man, I'd love to see that as like an animated series because I don't think like you got so much shit in there to make it as a movie. Oh my god, you'd be fucking blowing wads, bro. Jesus Christ, right? But you could make it a dope ass anime for real, you know. But I mean, if you made it a movie, that's like in game funds. I mean, I'm just being real. Greg, shit, it's gonna take in-game funds. But I do totally agree with your point as far as, like, I think it's funny that the police use that symbol and then people, well, like, right ass motherfuckers. Like I said, I mean, you've seen the image. I'll show it again, right now, right there, right there, right there. You see it right there, right? Where it's "Make America Great Again" with a Punisher skull with an American flag over it. All right. If y'all think that makes America great,
Right. That shit's sad, bro.
like I said, put 100,000 real Wade Wilsons out there. It'd be way better. Way, way, way better. All right. We just, it would. I mean, that's just the facts, man. It really is. But look, make sure you check out all the links in the description, man. Check out Greg's work. The Were Spider is phenomenal. If you are into mythology and you don't check that out, and if you're into comics and mythology and you don't check that out, you are fucking up with your life. You hear me? I'm flat out, man. Right?
Fucking ups.
Like, Jesus, man. I don't know what you're doing, right? But if you've enjoyed this interview with Greg, right, I want you to send a Nazi. Did I pronounce that shit right? A Nazi the spider, right?
Yeah.
With some jerk chicken, pizza, French fries. Hold on, man. What the fuck's that? I need to highlight this shit. I really do. I've said that so many times on so many past episodes. Like, I need to highlight this shit. Oh, and he don't know what toy he wanted as a kid. He's got no idea, man. So just some cool ass toy. I'm gonna go with some old school X-Men '90s from the animated series toys. I think Greg would dig them if you showed up with like some of them OG '90s figures from the X-Men. Like give him Omega Red, Deadpool, Bishop, all that dope shit. Right? I'm just throwing that one out there because he didn't give me nothing. Right? Now, if you didn't like this episode, yeah, I want you to send Candyman with just a thing of onions around his neck to go torture Greg.
Ah,
Yeah?
that's disgusting, man. That's disgusting.
I am the unknown factor, Greg. No one said in the long run I was a nice guy. I am the Wade Wilson of hip hop. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this questionnaire. Like I said, make sure you click all them links, right? Do me a favor, like, subscribe, all that goodness. Wherever you're at, man, click the notification. I don't know if you're on Spotify, Amazon, whatever the shit, but make sure you check out Greg and give it that thumbs up. Have a good night, y'all.